Hello, we are here to talk about the English SBA. Those of you who have started your CSEC class, you would have been introduced to the English SBA by your English teacher, and you are probably wondering what exactly is going on there, what exactly is this English SBA, and what am I expected to do. So I'm just going to take you through quickly to the components of the SBA, just an introduction. We're not going to do all of the components here today. This is just an introduction to get you started, all right? So subsequent videos will look at the different components of the SBA at a later time. So first of all, what is the English SBA? All right. The English SBA is actually a portfolio containing several pieces. All right. The good news is for the students who are doing English A and B, you will only be required to do one SBA and the score will be used for both subjects. The drawback to that, however, is that you have to ensure that your SBA is good, because since the one grade will be used for two subjects, you have to ensure that you get a good grade, right? Each SBA submission must explore a topic that is of interest to you, that is a student. It is always advised that you try to choose topics that are current affairs. That means things that are going on right now. When you do that, you give yourself a better chance of finding useful materials, interesting materials, materials that are at your fingertips. You don't have to search too hard to find materials that you can use. So it's always advised for you to stick with topics that are current. Now, for your English SBA, you will be required to be in groups. So even though the SBA is group work, you are also expected to do an individual portfolio, but there are aspects of the SBA that is group work. All right. So the group will consist of either 4 or 5 students, no less, no more. It can't be 3, can't be 6. It has to be 4 or 5. Depending on the number of students in your English A class, the teacher will decide whether she's going to have all groups of 4 or all groups of 5, or some groups with 4 and some groups with 5, depending on how many of you are in your English A class. All right. So please note well, even though it's group work, each student will have to compile an individual portfolio and hand that in, and that is valued 45 marks. All right. So let us look at the components of the English A SBA. All right. What are the components of the English SBA? We have plan of investigation, that is individual, 5 marks. Participation measure, that is an individual interview which your teacher will conduct with you, that's 5 marks. Quality of group activity is an interview that the teacher will conduct with you and your group members, that's 10 marks. Reflections, we have 3 reflections to write, reflections 1, 2, and 3, 5 marks in total. We have something that we call the written report, which is something that you have to do together in a group. Each member of the group will have to have the same written report, that's 10 marks. And of course, we have an oral presentation, which is something that you'll have to do. You'll have to write something original, like a song, a poem. Yes, you can write a song and come and sing it for the class. You can do a speech. It can be a number of it can be a story that you're going to come and tell us. And that is individually done, and that's 10 marks. For that, you are not expected to read. You have to know what you're saying from memory. All right. And we'll go into all of these in detail. So the final score for your SBA would be 45 marks. All right. And I always tell students, I'm very greedy when it comes to marks. So an SBA that is below 40 marks, in my mind, is not a good SBA. So always aim to get at least 40 marks. I will say if you get 38 or 37, that's not so bad. But aim for the 40 at least. All right. That should be the least score that you're getting out of the 45. You want to make sure that you're going to the exam with a good grade. All right. Now, we've been talking about themes and topics, and we want to look at the difference between a theme and a topic, especially as it relates to the SBA. So your SBA requires you to explore a common theme. All right. This is a broad topic that you will come up with you and your classmates, the ones that you decided to be in a group with. Now, from that broad theme, you're expected to do topics, and your topics, of course, are narrower than your theme. So let's look at this example here. The theme is in the center, and the topics are the things that go around. So these things would represent each member of the group. So all of the group will be doing politics, but each member of the group will be doing something specific related to politics. All right, and that should be pretty clear. So if you're doing music, all of you might decide that you want to do music, but one person might want to look at the influence of dancehall music on young people. Somebody else might want to look at how music has shaped the history of the country, something like that. So you would all be looking at the broad theme, but each member of the group will be doing a specific topic. All right. And of course, if you don't understand that so well, you can always reach out to your teacher. So that's the difference between theme and topic. The theme is a broad idea that you're looking at, while the topics are specific. All right. Now, these are some examples of some themes that you can look at. You don't have to choose one of these. Students, be original, be creative, come up with your own theme. Once you are placed into your groups, you're going to brainstorm together and come up with something that you think you might want to look at. Of course, these you could choose one of these, but please don't be boring. All right, come up with something interesting as well. For the students who do social studies, you might realize that a lot of these themes look very familiar to you, because a lot of these themes are also social issues. So things like peer pressure, gang violence, teenage pregnancy, scamming, discrimination, abuse. These are also some of the things that you might be doing in social studies. So yes, your English A theme can be a social issue from social studies, yes. Now, once you decide on the theme that you're doing and you have selected your topic, you're going to be doing a research to find what we call artifacts. And for the English SBA, you're required to find 3 artifacts. So when we talk about artifacts, what exactly are we talking about? And if you notice, the spelling of the word artifacts too is A-R-T-E, not A-R-T-I. You might be wondering, what is this? All right? So an artifact is simply, it's a fancy way of saying your literary material or resources. So you're going to go and do some research, and you're going to find 3 things that you can use to do your research for English, for the English SBA. So you might look for a newspaper article. You might look for a journal article. A song can be used, a poem can be used, a YouTube video could be used. You could use one of those cartoons from the Gleaner or the Observer, the Last May, or the Clovis cartoons. You could use that. You could use a pamphlet. You could use a poster. It can be a number of different things, students. So